to it. And he
So I know it may
does.
be a little weird that I'm sitting in my car that is tore down right now, but I'm going to make a video telling you guys about my 2018 season, the budget, how much money I spent, and stuff like that. And in theory, I think I only spent $10,000 to run the season. That doesn't count parts for the car and everything like that, but that counts for tires, entry fee, traveling, and stuff like that. So this video is going to be pretty long. If you guys don't mind, take the time, listen to it, watch it, tell me what you guys think, and hopefully I don't bore y'all too long. Hopefully this, if you guys are an upcoming driver, hopefully this helps you guys stay motivated, and doesn't discourage you guys from the people that are telling you that, oh, don't do it, it costs too much money, or you can't do it because you don't have enough money, blah blah. Like it does cost, but it depends on how much you have right here, and don't listen to negativity. Try to be positive about everything. So, kind of feel like I was the lowest budget guy this past year, just by just by looking at everybody else around me. I'm pretty sure that I was probably the lowest budget guy in Pro 2, and that's definitely not something to brag about, but it was something that I definitely, you know, I'm not disappointed in, and I'm super happy that I was able to compete a full year in Pro 2. So this video is going to kind of tell you all about the budget, what to expect, the tracks, and this might be a good video for just anyone coming in the Pro 2, especially for people that are lower budget, kind of like me. So last year, or this year, I built a new car, which let me go ahead and start off and tell you right now, that's definitely not the way to start the year, is building a new chassis, I don't feel like. I see that Frederick Osbo and Papadakis Racing, and them, they build several new chassis, and he does really good, but they're also in Pro 1 and have been doing this for a while, and they have a little bit different circumstances than I do, especially this being my first year. So for your first year coming in the Pro 2, I recommend you don't build a new car, because you don't get very much driving, much practice, and practice time is extremely important in Pro 2. So if you're trying to develop a new chassis or working bugs out, you just don't have time for that. So my advice to you would be to use the car that you used the year before. Do what you got to do to meet the safety requirements. Add the power to it. Do what you got to do to make it somewhat, competitive for Pro 2. You don't have to have a 1,000 horsepower car like some people think for Pro 2. I know that I got a lot of power and I've got the capabilities of making well over 1,000 horsepower, but we did not use that much power. We only used about 750 to 800 wheel for all year. It was more than enough. As long as you're consistent, you'll go far in Pro 2, as long as you can run the proper line and you understand what the judges are asking for. But as far as what all it takes to get there and everything, for me, I was working last year. I started a new job at Dynasty, being a mechanic, and they were, helping me with my program. At Hallett Dynasty, what they did was he hauled my car for me, tuned my car, and stuff like that, and helped me get the Haltech that I have in the car. So he was a huge help, huge part of my program. Definitely can't thank him enough. And he saved me a ton, helped me a ton too, just by being able to get the car there. He had towed her home with a stacker, so it made us look like ballers rolling to these events, even though I was extremely broken, probably had no money at all when I got to the event. So we get the car done probably a week before Atlanta. No drive time on the car at all. I had not driven it once at all, except for in the rain before Atlanta. So you can imagine, new track, new car, new series, and we're pulling up, and we get the car unloaded. We're ready. I'm feeling pretty good. We go out for first practice, and as soon as I pull out, not even just to go up to the hill, and the alternator goes out. So the car's not charging. We miss all of first practice because of an alternator. Something so simple that I never had any issues with in Pro-Am, but now in Pro 2 we have this issue. So I miss all of first practice. Luckily my friends, they run real quick. They get me another alternator from the parts store. We throw it on. We're good. Think we're about to go make a practice lap at the very end of the first practice, and sure enough, fries the alternator again. So we had to figure out what it was. Come to find out, the harness was pinned wrong for the alternator coming from the Haltech, and we had to swap a couple wires around. Did that, went back to the parts store again, told them that the brand new alternator didn't work. They gave us another one. We put it on. This time we're good, but we missed all first practice. So not only new track, new car, but now we've had no practice at all, and we only have one more practice session, which was an hour long at Atlanta. And let me tell you, when you're going at Atlanta, you're entering the track and exiting in the same spot. So they can't just keep cars going. So we go into practice. My first lap, I didn't link the course. I messed up, but I sent it. On my very first time dry, I went ahead and I entered probably around 75 mile an hour, ripped the handbrake, dumped the clutch, noticed I was kind of in the wrong gear. So my second lap, they wanted me to tandem, and because it was tandem practice, and so I followed a guy, gave him a bunch of room, and ended up linking the course, caught up to him, and came back up the hill and was feeling good and was like, dang, okay, brand new car, we linked the course, but then we only get 2 laps in that practice. So we go into the qualifying with literally 2 laps completed in our car, which was a lot of pressure on me and stress, which I usually do pretty good. So, but we go out for the first qualifying lap, go down the hill, and I enter pretty good. Coming up the hill, though, I didn't stay on throttle long enough, which was my problem the last 2 runs. So I went in the grass, got a 0 basically. So at this point, I'm like, man, all this work, all this money, these sponsors, companies putting all this money towards me and helping me out, and it's feeling like it's for nothing now. Like it's just really hard to grasp because I hate failing at things like this, even though it's a part of, going through and trying to go to the top of whatever you're trying to do, any sport you're trying to do. If you're trying to make it to the top, you're gonna fail along the way, but you got to make sure you keep pushing and keep the drive going, stay motivated. So we go on the second qualifying run, and I'm super stressed, but I go ahead and I lay down a lap, and I'm like feeling good. I'm like, man, that felt good, and it just wasn't enough. To me, I thought that was a good enough lap to at least get us, in the top 16, but unfortunately it wasn't. Watch some of the other guys go, watch their laps after, and I'm just trying to figure out why I didn't qualify with the lap that I had compared to some of the other guys that were getting like 80s, and I just couldn't understand. Anyways, maybe it was a part of that I didn't get any practice, and the judges didn't even see my car running. They had no idea who I was, which shouldn't be an issue, but I kind of understand, maybe they didn't feel like I was going to be good for tandem competition just because of the lack of driving that I had done and preparation. And also, I was a little offline and everything, but I linked the course good and wasn't doing terrible. So we got like a 70 or something like that. It was like 4 or 5 points below the cutoff mark, which was very disappointing. So we go back to the pit, go ahead and load the car up for the weekend. My buddy, or Hal, he had to take the car back. But anyways, just getting to Atlanta literally took almost every dollar I had to get there. And this is the first event, and I'm already broke. I had ordered 18 tires from Achilles, which is $100 a pop, so I ordered $1,800 in tires, which I borrowed money to even get those tires. Luckily, Hal hauled my car there for me. I didn't have to, worry about travel costs. Entry fee for Pro 2, if you guys don't know, some of you that are going in, or if you didn't know, is $2,500 if you go ahead and agree to all 4 events. Plus, you have to have a hard card, which is that's another $400, so $2,900 total. So you're basically, they let you do it in payments. So you got $3,000 or $1,000 payments. So I made my first payment and got that out of the way early in the year. So basically, I had to focus on just making it to the first event, getting the car done, which is what broke me, was getting it done. But luckily, a bunch of companies and everything got us there and got it done. So after Atlanta, and during Atlanta, I stayed inside. I slept in my truck, and I slept in the trailer where my car was. Not in the total home, because Hal and his family stayed in there, which they had two kids. So it just wasn't right. So I stayed in the trailer with my car and in my truck, which cut costs. I didn't have to pay for any of that. So you can see that I was really, really struggling, and but I was determined that no matter what, I was going to make it work. So after Atlanta, we got two test days after that. I couldn't afford to run on Achilles because they cost so much. So I was running on Zenas and to practice on. So I wasn't even really getting good practice on the car, but like true practice, because I was practicing on tires that I'm not even competing on. But that's what I had to do. So and that's what I did in the first practice. I was going to do in the first practice in Pro 2. I was going to compete on Zenas instead of Achilles, but I couldn't because I didn't make it. So, anyways, so I get a couple test days with the car. Car's feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. Then St. Louis comes around. This is a few months, and I just couldn't drive the car that much in between that period because I was so broke, and I had heard a transmission, so I was waiting on getting a transmission back. So then St. Louis comes around, and I'm like, man, I got an advantage here. I've driven the track. It was a new track for Pro 2 and Pro 1. No one else had really drove the track that much beside like 5 or 6 guys, I felt like, which is a few of them were from MDU, which I drove with all the time, which is Jeff Donati and Garrett Denton. I think Dustin Miles might have drove it. I'm not sure. Maybe not. So anyways, that I thought I was going to do good. I thought I had an advantage, thought I had the edge on some drivers, so I was going to do good. We go out for practice, and granted, I took the leftover tires that I had from Atlanta and used them for St. Louis, so I didn't have to buy any tires for St. Louis. But I was limited on tires, so I only got to make 6 laps for practice. No, and I every lap, though, was good. I know I did good. Every lap was consistent. Didn't run off the track, didn't get any incompletes or anything during practice. So in qualifying, I was feeling good. And sure enough, though, first lap in qualifying, I go up, I'm feeling good. I'm like, man, I'm about to kill it. And going into the sweeper, I transitioned and stayed off throttle too long. And with how much grip was in the car, it sucked me into the inside. And I was way offline, and I ran in the grass. So I ran off track again, made myself look stupid, and got a 0. So, with getting the 0, you only get one more run for qualifying, and I'm super stressed out, and I'm like, man, this is really what a waste all this is. I hope I own up and do good enough and prove to all these people that have been helping me that it's worth it. So my second qualifying run, I come up stressed out, but knowing that I got to put down a good run. So I go out, and sure enough, I throw together an amazing run. I stayed in it whenever I transitioned on like 90-degree angle at the inside clip. I think it's the third inner clip. I was complete 90, was feeling great. Transition, went right, stayed on throttle, stayed on the outside of the sweeper, and got an 87. We qualified second place. So that right there basically put us on the map for the people like FD employees, like the workers and the people, the staff and all them. Like then they kind of knew like, oh, this dude can drive. So it was a huge success in just by qualifying second place, just knowing that that I could throw down and that I wasn't there and wasting my time and wasting anybody else's time. Unfortunately, though, we go to top 16, and I've only got I think 6 tires going in the top 16, so still not even enough tires to make it all the way to first, even if we did. You have to plan ahead in case you win all the battles. You gotta make sure you have that many tires mounted up. So, and we didn't, but anyways, it didn't matter because I went up against Craig Felipe, and unfortunately on my lead lap, I did the same thing I did on my first qualifying run, but I stayed on track. I just transitioned into the sweeper and didn't stay out wide enough and ran a really, really shallow line. And Crick was right there on my door and followed me great. And he definitely did good. And then on my follow run, I knew I had to throw down. So I gave him a little bit of a gap in the entry, and then I sucked right up to him. Transitioned early in the touch and go, which kind of put me off a little bit too inside on the inner clip 3. But a lot of Pro 1 guys were doing the same thing to maintain proximity there. It set me up perfect. I put it straight to his door all the way around the sweeper, but he had a great lead run, which made it where I could follow him very easily. And he got the win, which he deserved to win, rightfully. That was the end of our weekend in St. Louis. So the next round, that was in like August. So in September, we have a month. We got another round. The next round was Texas. Well, after St. Louis, which was a close event for me, and I didn't really have too many costs, we go to Texas. Texas is coming up, and I just don't know how I'm gonna run Texas. I'm broke at this point. I have zero money, and I need at least, in theory, I need 20 tires for Texas at bare minimum, 20. Well, I can only afford 10. So. And I really couldn't afford that. I'd hit up a couple of companies, was like, hey guys, I'm trying to make it to Texas. I'm doing everything I can. I qualified second to last round. I was using that to my better part to say, hey, it would be worth it, for them to invest. And so I was asking for a little bit of money. I didn't get much, but I got some. Huge shout out to Frankenstein and BTR, Brian Tully Racing, and them for both those companies pitching a little bit of money. And I had enough money to get 10 tires. Now, you would think I'm crazy for driving 12, 13 hours to go and compete with 10 tires for the whole weekend. That is correct, 10 tires. So, and I still didn't know how I was going to make it. So my boss is like, well, look, we'll take the rig to Texas, which he wasn't going to. He's like, we'll haul the car for you. I just need to know if you're gonna make it, if you're actually gonna put it into it and you're gonna go. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, all the side work, anything I got to do. I'm making it to Texas. So I got everything together, got it all situated, and sure enough, we made our quest to Texas. Well, first time going there to drift. So we're on our way to Texas, and we get to Texas. I stayed, my friends, my crew chief and my spotter, which Ryan Tabor was the spotter and Aaron Locker was the crew chief. They were a huge help. They take off work. They were helping me for free, doing everything they could just because they knew I didn't have the money or the budget to pay them, even though I wish I could. So thankfully, those dudes went out and did that for me. And so we slept in the trailer with the car and the stacker. One slept up top. Two of us slept in the bottom. So we weren't paying for a hotel or nothing. We were straight up just doing bare minimum, anything we could. And luckily they had a shower at the track, so that was pretty cool. Anyways, so we go there. I've never driven Texas. Didn't know how it was going to go. I knew it was a really fast track. I knew it was very similar to St. Louis. So going into it, I was going to just take an easy lap. And I was telling Hal, I was like, hey man, I'm just going to take it easy and just get a feel for the track, so I don't wreck or tear anything up. But for some reason, I leave the chicane for the first time. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, dang, all right, I got that. I think I'm going to be good. I just went ahead and chucked it and entered it and stayed in throttle. And luckily I had enough power in the car that for the power alley, I could pick and choose how I was taking it. So I just made it through, and I linked the course first lap. I think it was first or second lap I linked it. And since I only bought 10 tires for Texas, I only made 6 laps. 6 laps for practice. I might have had 12 total. I might have had 2 left over for some reason, but so 10 or 12 tires total. So I made like 6 laps of practice, which was not enough at all. At all. I mean, definitely wasn't. But I was feeling good. I linked the course every time, basically. So going into qualifying, I knew I was at a disadvantage because I didn't have practice like all the other guys were. But we go into qualifying, first lap. Sure enough, I throw it away. I get another 0. So 3 times in a row, I'm getting a 0. I'm making myself look stupid by running off the freaking course and, mowing the grass or whatever. I don't know. All my friends made fun of me for it. So, anyways, so I mow the lawn, get a 0, go on. So I'm super stressed out. People have given me some money to make it there. Hal hauled my car 12, 13 hours to get there. And I had to pay for fuel, a little bit for fuel, which, just so you know, he fronted that to me and literally just paid him back not long ago. So, but anyways, that's besides the point. So, my second qualifying run, I come up and I'm, stressed out. We're really far away. Like, there's a ton invested in this trip. And we go out, and somehow I throw down a line or a good run, and I get like an 82, I think, which put us like 12th or something, which wasn't good, but a lot of people were scoring really high there. But I had a nasty transition coming out of the touch and go into the inner clip going to the tire wall. And I'm telling you, I thought I was spinning out. I had no idea how I saved it, but I chucked it by the tire wall. Full lock. Wisefab saved me for sure. And I thought I was going to come up short again and run off course just like I did my first run. But I clutch kicked it real hard and I stayed in it. And I made it all the way out. Ran really close to the inner clip and put down got a score, which took a lot of stress off of me. So we don't get to really practice tandem. We made like 2 laps, I think, for tandem. Going in the top 16, we go against Jeff Denali, which I've drove with him a ton in Pro-Am, but he didn't have nowhere near the car he did now, and now he's got a really good car. He's super consistent driver. So he qualified like second or third, I don't know, something really high. So I'm following him, so I chase him first, he leads, and I try to stay on him, but I miss a gear. With this train, granted, let me tell you something. Let me back up for a minute. When we were coming into Texas, I literally I had a transmission in the car that wasn't any good, and we knew it blew up. Thankfully, Jonathan Nairn gave me a transmission that was supposedly not ever going to get hurt again. And we get to Texas, and the first thing we do in the car before we even unload it is change the transmission. So, but anyway, so besides the point, so I got this baller train, supposedly, T56 with G-force gear set, and I'm going into the first turn, and somehow I miss 4th gear. How? So it pops into neutral real quick, and all I do is, no clutch, no nothing, just jammed it in the 4th gear, hit the handbrake real quick, clutch kick, boom, and somehow I lost a ton on him. And so I was way off of him. I caught up to him a little bit, but not too good. But when he was leading in the touch and go area, he completely straightened up and opposite drifted. And I didn't even catch it. I didn't even know that he did that. So I'm thinking that he's already way at a huge advantage to me. Because my spotter, he didn't really see it either, didn't catch it. And I don't even think the judges really caught it at first. It was really hard to tell. So we swap roles, I'm leading. And so in the lead, I'm like, man, I got to throw down. So I'm lead, and I just hammer down. And unfortunately, I just drove the car basically like 110% instead of like 90, which is what I probably should have drove. And I went wide on touch and go, went wide again on the touch and go too. And it took me off track a little bit. I dropped a tire, maybe 2 tires. But somehow I saved it. And Jeff did a phenomenal job behind me, not hitting me, not going way off track. He stayed in drift. He did everything he was supposed to. And unfortunately, he just on his lead run, he didn't have a good run. And he got a 0. And I didn't get a 0. So when I made the track, finished the lap, my lead lap, and he followed right in behind me. And I'm over here thinking like, hey man, good job. I know you won. Props to you. But he didn't. He lost, and I was shocked. So I'm rushing back. So just so you know, I win my top 16 battle, and I literally have 2 tires left, and I go against Garrett Nett, and that's 2 tires mounted. Thankfully, Donati loses against me, and he tells me that if I make it past the grade 8, that he will let me borrow 2 wheels and 2 tires, or whatever I needed to continue on through the competition. So huge props to him. He's a really good friend of mine. So we go in to the top 8 versus Garrett Denton. And once again, on my fall lap, I got lost in the smoke, ran on the other side of the inside clip, looked like an idiot. So I lost that. I got a 0, following Garrett. I was there, but I was off track. So my lead lap, I did the same thing. I punt the stupid ass inner clip again, which I hit that same thing, that inner clip a lot. Anyways, hit that, and I'm a little offline, and I noticed that I'm about to hit the tire wall. So I just chucked the car again with a crazy amount of angle like I did on my qualifying run, and it choked me way up. I was offline and I ran off the track, got a 0. So Garrett Denton wins easily. So come to find out, after Texas, we do good. We finished like ninth or something like that, or no, eighth or however. We made top 8, so we finished like eighth, I think, 7th or 8th, which was, we're making progress every round. So we go. I'm like 15th or 16th in points. Irwindale's the next round. I'm broke, completely broke, no tires. Have no idea how I'm getting Irwindale because Hal specifically stated that he was not driving the rig that far for that round, that I was on my own. So at this point, I have no idea how I'm making it there, no idea what I'm going to do. And so, anyways, we're going. The month is, we only got a month. I'm trying to figure it all out. I'm doing as much side work as I can. I'm trying to find things I can sell. Anyway, so I come up with an idea. Or a buddy from work, Nick, at Dynasty, he had a truck and trailer, F-250, open trailer, or F-150, I think. And he told me that I could borrow it for $400, which was $100 1,000 miles, which is a stupid, crazy deal. Like, he's insane for even letting me do this. So I load the car up, or so anyway, so I have no tires. I come up with the money, I buy 10 more tires. So I'm traveling all the way across the world, and 10 tires. That's right, 10 tires. California was a dream for me, and my biggest thing was I'm going to make it to all 4 rounds. I told my sponsors I was going to make all 4 rounds, so I was going to own up to what I told them and prove to them how dedicated I was to making all this happen, and that they could trust me, and hopefully I can continue to grow relationships and partnerships with these companies. So after I figure out how I'm gonna get there, trying to come up with the money for tires. I think I borrowed money somehow, or somehow somebody lend me money to get tires. We go down there, and Irwindale's a huge track, so I don't know how I'm gonna do. But one thing was, I skateboard. I used to skateboard, or I was sponsored back in the day skateboarding, and my main thing was I wanted to go to California. It was a dream, so I was making it happen no matter what. So, anyways, my friends, Ryan Tabor couldn't go, which was my spotter. So my other buddy, Cody Shelby, said, hey, I'll go, and he'll help drive and everything. He's really good about staying awake, driving far. So he comes, Aaron Locker gets there. We're leaving Louisville, and we're heading to California. Yes, 32 hours, open trailer, F-150, not even mine. I don't even know my own trailer, and I'm making it. I'm going to Irwindale. So we head out, and when we're in the truck, they're like, so what's the plan? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, where are we staying and everything? And I'm like, guys, I really just don't know where we're staying yet. And they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean you don't know where we're staying? I'm like, we're kind of just, I'm going to wing it, when we get there, we'll figure it out. And they're like, you're nuts, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, I don't know what we're going to do. And, granted, it took, like $1,000-something, or $800, $900 in fuel, so that's all I had money-wise, basically. And we go, so we're almost, we're driving, and we still don't know where we're staying. And my buddy, Dave Ellis, dude I skated with all the time, lives in Arizona. So I'm like, well, I'll hit my buddy up and see what he's doing. We're like 3 hours outside of Arizona, so last second, I'm like, hey, man, what's up, Dave? What are you doing? He's like, oh, not much, Johnny. And I was like, you think I can come stay at your house? He's like, or I was like, what are you doing? I was like, you live in Arizona, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, you think I could, like, me and a couple buddies could stay in out with you? He's like, dude, yeah, heck yeah. I know my buddies from Paducah have came and visited me, so this is a first. He's like, heck yeah, man. I'm like, dude, awesome. So we show up. He takes me rock climbing. We stay at his house. He, let's just stay for free. And he's like, hey, man, you guys should stay another night, We should go do some more stuff tomorrow. And we're like, okay, cool. So we stayed 2 nights there. So we stayed there Sunday night, Monday night, because we left Saturday morning, I think. So we didn't get there until, like, Sunday. Or maybe maybe we left Friday and we got there Saturday or something like that. I'm not really sure. Anyways, while we're in Arizona, I'm posting on Facebook like, hey, we made it here, we're here, whatever. And another buddy or another dude on Facebook hits me, hey man, um, I live in California. You can stay with me if you need a place. I'm like, so I look him up. His name's Mike Lane. I look him up. I'm like, he looks cool. Like he looks like he does some cool stuff. And I tell my friend like, hey man, I think we got a place to stay. And they're like, where? I'm like, they tell them. They're like, that's sketchy. So anyway, so I'm messaging him, and he's like, yeah man, I know, Rad Dan and Chris Forsberg and all that. I'm like, okay, sure. So we leave Dave's house, which was super cool that he let us stay there. And we leave Dave's, we head to California, Southern California, and man, it's awesome. Like, this is a dream come true. So we get to Southern California, and my buddy Mike Lang is there, or I meet Mike, and as we pull up to his house in Southern California, he is straight up putting an LS engine in his 350Z right now, which I've done several times. And I'm like, oh dang. So within 5 minutes of meeting this dude, I'm under his car, bolting his transmission, his crossmember up in his car, and we're putting the engine in, and we're test fitting his twin turbo kit. And it's like match made. Like, dude, this dude's cool. We're already getting along and everything. And we're like, heck yeah, they got a nice house. We're just super, super pumped on everything. Like, could not believe it. So we go in. So anyways, my bad. I keep saying so a lot, so I'm trying to. I don't need to say so much. But anyways, we me and him. He's like, "What do you guys want to do?" We're like, "We don't know. We're not from here. Like, show us around." He's like, "Well, we'll go to Dad's Red Dan shop." I was like, "Okay, cool." So we go there, and it's like awesome because we've watched his YouTube videos, Paul Red Dan and everything, and Ola Jaeger's there, Pro 2 driver, which I compete against him. And he's working on a Supra, getting it ready for tomorrow, the next day, or 2 days or whatever, take it to Irwindale to the track. And we meet them. Their shop's rad, all kinds of cool cars. We're like, dang, man, this is sick. Comes to find out, Mike does know everybody, just like he says. He doesn't lie. He didn't lie. So it was like one of the most raddest things already happening on our trip. And it was just the first day in California. And he's like, yeah, man, we can go here and do this and that. I'm like, oh okay. And one of my things was I wanted to go to the Barracks. I've always wanted to go to the Barracks, which is a skate place owned by Steve Barron and Eric Costin. And I wanted to go there really bad, which was in L.A. Luckily, my friend Logan Tarrant, he works for BTR, which he's the dude that's helped me out a lot too. And he's made friends with Josh Kalis, which is a pro skater, which I looked up to when I was younger. And I met him at LS Fest. And he was like checking my car out. We talked. I didn't fanboy. I shook his hand. We talked normal. And dude was really, really cool. And I called Logan up. I was like, hey man, you think Josh could like maybe get me in there? And he's like, I'll check. So Josh gets my name on the list. And I'm like, no way. So we go. The Barracks doesn't have any signs. It's super private. I wait till some dude walks in the door. I walk up and the guy's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey man, Josh Kalis said my name's on the list. And he's like, well, you wait out here and I'll go check. I'm like, dang, okay, this is pretty serious. So he goes in. Sure enough, my name's on the list. He lets us in. All of our friends, me, Cody, and Aaron, we all get to go in, and it's like sick. The park is awesome. I skated for a little bit, so it was like a dream come true, and it was pretty baller. So, anyways, I know this. Maybe some of you guys don't skate or anything, but I think most drifters kind of do. So I thought maybe I think that's kind of cool. But anyways. So we're there a couple of days. We're there early. Wednesday we head out to the track to unload the car, drop it off. We get there. It's pretty cool. Everybody's already pretty much set up. I'm there early, which is insane. We made it there with an open trailer. I'm the only guy there with an open trailer, which is insane. And we head out. My girlfriend comes into town. She flew in, and she came, which was really cool for her. Thursday morning, we wake up super early. We get to the track, prep the car, get it ready, get our tires mounted that we have, all 10 of them. And we go out for practice. First lap, I'm like, dude, this track's gnarly. But in 3 laps, I'm already riding the wall. I love the track. I was super comfortable with the track. And this was the first time I drove my car with a proper alignment. So, you know how I was saying in Texas, I was all over the place and transitioning weird, hitting clipping points and everything? Well, I never put my car on an alignment rack. And I used toe plates, so I thought it was good. Well, my thrust angle was off, so that means when I'm drifting one way, my car has a ton of grip, and when I'm drifting the other way, I have like no grip. It's basically like a lot of toe in and like opposite. And so Aaron Litchie at Winning Formula took care of that in Louisville, hooked me up with a alignment before Irwindale, and the car felt phenomenal. We didn't test with it at all like that. We go out there first, second, third. I mean, I was killing it, feeling good. Going into qualifying, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna put a score up on my first lap without getting a zero. And guess what? I didn't get a zero on my first lap. We got like an 82, I think, which I thought should have been higher. But I rode the wall, and I committed completely into the second outside zone, which was super scary, like insane, dude. It is nuts going into the second outside, into the outside zone. But I threw it in, chucked it, put it on the wall, rode it all the way around, rode the inside clip, got a score of 82. Then going in, a lot of other people got 82, so we were all kind of tied. I think other people were struggling. Maybe they didn't have the power, so that track actually could use the power. So second lap, I go up, boom, again, I got an 80. So backed up my 82 with an 80, so it put us in like sixth place, I think, for qualifying, which was super cool. Like, drove all the way out there. It wasn't, it wasn't worth it anymore. Everything was worth it. The whole trip, going broke, everything to me was worth it. Like, I put everything I had into it to make this happen, and in all honesty, like, it was awesome. All the companies that helped me, I can't thank any of them, or I can't thank all of them enough for getting me out there and helping me out and making this dream come true. So, anyway, so we go in the top 16, and I'm like, my goal was, I said, I'm either going to wreck or I'm going to win. I was like, I'm putting everything into it. Like checkers or wreckers, basically. So my lead lap, I go out. I got Riley Sexsmith, which he's a very good driver, and I knew it going in, so I knew I had to put everything I had into it. And I was driving 100% no matter what. I wasn't driving 90, I wasn't driving 80, because I did not drive 32 hours across the world to not put everything I had into it. So first lap, I go out, I'm leading, I ride the wall, probably the best one. I've ran the wall all the way. Come into the inner clip, hit it a little bit. Not bad though. Going to the outside zone, I was a little shallow, but I still reached the zone. And I put a gap on him. He couldn't keep up, and he told me before he gave me a little gap at the beginning, and he just couldn't close it. So I had a huge advantage going in, but for some reason my car started acting up. Something wasn't right. It was running on 7 cylinders, come to find out. But I was sitting at the line, we're waiting to go again, and I'm waiting to follow him. And I didn't have my crew chief. I didn't have radio, so I couldn't tell him like, hey, we need to call 5. So I was unprepared in that way too, and I had no spotter. And it's for them to tell me, hey, what happened. But I just knew that I was going to drive 100% anyways. So when I'm revving my car, I'm like, man, something doesn't seem right. So we go to take off, though. I go ahead and run it, go to take off, and my car bogs on the line. It has no power, basically. Clutch kicked it, got it going. I finally start to catch up to Riley. He's got a huge gap on me. I enter it on the bank, and I'm clutch kicking the whole time to stay up, and I suck up right to him. Well, I was sucking up to him so quick that I got scared that I was going to just bump him. So I got off the throttle a little early when I had still like 10 foot, which I should have been like 2 foot. And it dropped me on the bank, so I ran really shallow, which made me be able to get really close to him for the rest of the course. Well, when we transitioned, I mirrored his transitions, and I actually was transitioning before him. I was jumping the gun, which I probably shouldn't have, and with my power being down, I had to stay on the clutch and on the power as hard as I could. Well, coming into the outside zone, when I transitioned, I was blinded by his tire smoke. I come around, I'm following his taillights, I come around, barely miss his back bumper, and boom, there he is. Like, I'm like, oh shit. And sure enough, I bump him, he hits the wall, and I didn't have enough power. My car bogged, I couldn't keep it up. I couldn't keep it in drift, so I lost. I lost the battle, like I said, against Riley Sexsmith, which I was pretty disappointed in myself because I hit him, and I probably could have stayed back a little bit, but in a way, I'm not disappointed because I know that I put everything I had into it, and I drove 100% instead of just going out with getting like an incomplete or something like I did in the other rounds. which I guess I still got an incomplete for hitting him, but I felt like if I would have had the power in my car, that I would have just been able to dump the clutch again and stay on his door and finish the run out. And probably would have won because I had an advantage, but who knows? I mean, you can't say I would have won or something, without winning. Everybody says I would have won if this would happen. Well, I don't live on if this would have happened, on ifs. Like, it either happens or it doesn't happen. So anyway, so we finished Irwindale in the top 10 for the year with missing a complete round. We missing Atlanta. We still finished in the top 10 with a brand new car. Absolutely no practice time almost. Limited to everything because of money. And sure enough, when I got back from Irwindale, I literally had like $25 or something like that. And to get to Irwindale, I had someone that was part of my team that helped and gave some money to help me get there. So I didn't get there on my own, and definitely a miracle happened for that to for me to be able to make it. But it just goes to tell you and show to you guys that are going that, everybody was telling me don't run Pro 2. You don't have the money, you don't have the budget. Like, yeah, it takes a lot, but in theory, like, you can really do it really cheap. I mean, even if I did have to pay for traveling all those places, like St. Louis was 3 hours away, Atlanta was 6-7 hours away, and Texas was 13. Like, that's not even that far. Pro-Am, I traveled farther than that. So I spent maybe, you would spend like a few $100 in gas money for going those places. Like, that's not even that much, especially if you have a job, Monday through Friday. I mean, you're making at least some money, and then plus side jobs. You can make the money to make this stuff happen. It just depends on how much motivation, how much heart you have, and how much drive you have to continue to want to put yourself in the situation that I did. So, I probably spent, I'm going to estimate $10,000. Yeah, 10 grand I probably ran Pro 2. Maybe a little bit more. And everybody's like, oh, you need at least $30,000, $40,000. Like, let's add it up. Actually, maybe a little bit more. I spent a total of $3,500. Let's see, I bought 18 tires, 10. So I bought a total of, 10, 20, and then the 18. So I only bought 38 tires, so $3,800. $3,800 plus the $3,000 for entry, so you're already at $6,800, and then $3,200 was probably spent in the fuel, renting the truck. Actually, probably not even that much. Maybe something close to that. And fuel, I was getting it really cheap. So for the car, so I don't understand. I would literally spend like 10 grand to run Pro 2, and that doesn't count my car or anything or the parts that I broke, but it literally cost me $10,000 to run the season. So you can make it happen. It doesn't take $40,000, $50,000, but the thing is, I could have done so much better if I would have had more money and spent more time trying to make it happen. But I didn't have the budget. I did what my budget allowed me to do, and the one thing I can say is that I made it to all 4 rounds and owned up to my sponsorships and showed those companies that what I'm capable of doing. So if you don't have crazy amounts of money, you're not rich, don't let other people discourage you to make it, but understand that you can discourage yourself for if you fail when you do try to make it. Because I failed round 1. I was disappointed in myself, but I knew what I was doing, I knew what it took, and I knew everything that was going on at that point and what I had to do to fix it and to become better. So yeah, I hope this video helps you guys. I hope this video was somewhat interesting. I know it's very long, but I feel like it sums up my whole year pretty well, and that maybe some of you guys have the interest in listening to. I know that whenever I'm at work, or when I'm at work, because I work back at my other job now, I'm an inspector again, then when I have time I can sit there and put headphones in and watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts, and it motivates me to listen to how other people made it, how other people didn't make it, or just I try to do everything I can to stay motivated. So hope this video helps you guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you don't follow me on Instagram already, do that. The link or my my username is. I'll put it in the video. Anyways, I know I suck at this video, but I'm doing as best I can, and we'll try to do better and be more comfortable with talking to you guys and adding things in like that. So subscribe.